Eleanor was a woman who always thought about others before herself. For 65 years, she had been the quiet helper, the steady hand, and the warm smile for everyone around her. She made sure her children had what they needed, her husband felt cared for, and her friends always had a listening ear. Birthdays for Eleanor were usually simple: a nice dinner at home, maybe a new book. She never asked for much, and she certainly never expected a big fuss. Her world was small and cozy, filled with the familiar rhythms of daily life. As her 65th birthday approached, Eleanor imagined it would be just like all the others, peaceful and predictable. She didn't know that this special day would open a door to a whole new world, a world she never dreamed of exploring. Indeed, Eleanor's world had become quieter over the years. Her 2 children, now grown, had flown the nest long ago, building their own busy lives in faraway cities. Visits were treasured, but they were not often. Then, 5 years earlier, her dear husband Robert had passed away. His absence left a large, silent space in their home and in her heart. Eleanor had filled her days with gentle routines, tending her small garden, reading by the window, and baking cookies for her neighbors. She joined a book club and volunteered at the local library, finding comfort in the quiet company of others. Her life was peaceful, yes, but also a little bit lonely. She often wondered if there was anything more for her, but never dared to dream too big. On her 65th birthday, as Eleanor sat in her cozy living room, sipping tea and opening cards, a brightly wrapped package caught her eye. It was from her granddaughter Lily, who always had a knack for surprises. Eleanor carefully unwrapped it, her fingers tracing the smooth, dark blue cover of what lay inside. It was a brand new passport. Her own passport! She hadn't had one in decades, not since her honeymoon with Robert. Beside it, nestled in tissue paper, was a colorful, thick book titled Italy, the Ultimate Travel Guide. Eleanor's eyes widened. Italy? She looked up, her heart doing a little flutter kick. This was certainly not the quiet, predictable birthday she had expected. It was a gift that felt like a whisper of something much bigger. Eleanor stared at the passport, then at the glossy pages of the travel guide, a mix of wonder and worry washing over her. Italy? She whispered, her voice a little shaky. But I've never traveled alone before. A knot tightened in her stomach. The idea of navigating airports, finding hotels, and speaking a different language all by herself felt like climbing a very tall mountain. What if she got lost? What if she couldn't understand anyone? What if she was just too old for such a grand adventure? Her cozy, predictable world, which had felt a little small moments ago, now seemed like a safe, warm blanket she didn't want to leave. A sudden chill of fear ran through her. Just as doubt began to cloud Eleanor's mind, Lily's cheerful voice filled the room through a video call. Happy birthday, Nana! Did you get my gift? Eleanor, still clutching the passport, explained her fears. Lily listened patiently, then her voice grew firm but kind. Nana, you are strong and smart, and you won't be totally alone. I'll help you plan every single step. Over the next few weeks, Lily became Eleanor's personal travel agent. They spent hours on video calls, looking at maps, picking out places to stay, and finding fun things to do. Lily showed her how to use a translation app on her phone and found easy ways to get around in Italy. With each hotel booked and train ticket chosen, Eleanor's fears slowly started to shrink, replaced by a growing sense of excitement. Lily's belief in her was a warm light, guiding her toward this incredible adventure. With Lily's careful planning, the departure date for Italy drew closer and closer. The day before her flight, Eleanor stood in her bedroom, a sturdy suitcase open on her bed. She folded soft shirts, rolled up comfortable pants, and tucked in her favorite scarf. Each item placed in the suitcase felt like a step further into the unknown. As she packed, a strange feeling bubbled inside her. It was a mix of nervous jitters and a buzzing excitement. Her hands trembled slightly as she zipped the bag shut, her passport and plane ticket tucked safely in her purse. She took a deep breath. Tomorrow, she would embark on an adventure, all by herself. The next morning, the taxi ride to the airport felt like a journey to another planet. Eleanor clutched her purse, her heart thumping a little faster with each mile. The airport itself was a buzzing hive of people, sounds, and moving walkways. She had always traveled with Robert, who handled all the tickets and directions. Now, it was just her. She took a deep breath, remembering Lily's encouraging words. Following the signs, she checked her bag and made her way through security. Sitting at her gate, watching planes take off, a sense of wonder slowly replaced her nerves. Soon, she would be on one of those giant birds, soaring high above the clouds all by herself. When her flight was called, Eleanor stood up, a small smile playing on her lips. This was it, her very first solo flight. After many hours, the plane landed smoothly in Rome. Stepping out of the airport, Eleanor was met with a rush of new sights, sounds, and smells. Cars zoomed past. People chatted loudly in Italian, and the air smelled faintly of coffee and something sweet. It was all so different from her quiet hometown. For a moment, she felt a wave of dizziness, a tiny part of her wanting to turn right back around. But then, her eyes caught sight of an ancient building with crumbling stones and tall arches, standing proudly against the bright blue sky. It was breathtaking. A smile touched her lips. She felt small in this big, bustling city, but also incredibly alive. This was Rome, and she was here, all by herself. Her first few days in Rome were a joyful blur. Eleanor walked for miles, her comfortable shoes carrying her past ancient ruins that once held gladiators, and grand fountains where coins glittered at the bottom. She saw the Colosseum, a giant circle of history, and tossed a coin into the Trevi fountain, making a wish for more adventures. Every meal was a new discovery. She tasted creamy pasta, crispy pizza, and gelato that melted in her mouth like a sweet dream. She learned to say grazie and buongiorno, and even tried a few more Italian words with a shy smile. Each day, her worries faded a little more, replaced by pure wonder. Rome was a feast for her senses, and Eleanor was hungry for every bite. One sunny afternoon, Eleanor was trying to find a small church mentioned in her guidebook. She unfolded her big paper map, turning it every which way, her brow furrowed in concentration. The street names seemed to swirl, and she couldn't quite match them to what she saw around her. She spun the map upside down, then sideways, letting out a little huff of frustration. A kind laugh came from nearby. "Permesso, signora?" a voice asked gently. Eleanor looked up to see a cheerful-looking man, with a friendly smile, holding a basket of fresh bread. He pointed to her upside-down map, his eyes twinkling. With a chuckle, he helped her turn it the right way, and then, using a mix of Italian and hand gestures, pointed her toward the little church. Eleanor thanked him warmly, feeling a rush of gratitude and a silly giggle escaping her lips. It was a small moment, but it made her feel even more welcome. After the map mishap, Eleanor decided to take a break at a small cafe. She pulled out the travel journal Lily had given her, intending to write about her day. But as she looked at the bustling street and the beautiful old buildings, her hand reached for a small pencil instead. She began to draw the cafe table, a potted flower, and then a quick outline of the building across the street. It wasn't perfect, not like a photograph, but it captured the feeling, the quiet charm of the moment. She felt a peaceful calm settle over her. Back home, she had never thought of herself as an artist. But here, in Italy, with so much beauty all around, sketching felt like a natural way to remember. It was a sweet, unexpected discovery. After a wonderful week in Rome, it was time for Eleanor to move on. Lily had booked her a train ticket to Florence, a city known for its art and beauty. The train station, though busy, felt less scary this time. Eleanor found her seat by the window and watched as the city slowly gave way to the countryside. Rolling green hills, dotted with tall cypress trees and charming stone houses, sped by. Vineyards stretched out like green blankets, and sunflowers turned their faces to the sun. It was a picture-perfect scene, straight out of a painting. Eleanor leaned back, a soft smile on her face. The gentle rocking of the train and the stunning views made her feel completely at ease. This journey was just as lovely as the destination. Florence welcomed Eleanor with its old-world charm. Here, every corner seemed to hold a masterpiece. She spent hours in art museums, gazing at famous paintings and sculptures, feeling a deep connection to the artists who created such beauty centuries ago. The Uffizi Gallery felt like a treasure chest, filled with history and wonder. She also loved wandering through the narrow, winding streets, discovering hidden squares and small shops selling leather goods and handmade jewelry. The Arno River flowed gently under ancient bridges, and the Duomo's magnificent dome stood tall against the sky, a true marvel. Eleanor felt like she was walking through a living history book, and she sketched many of these beautiful sights in her journal, each drawing a tiny piece of Florence to keep forever. One evening, while dining alone at a small trattoria in Florence, Eleanor found herself seated next to a lively group of people. They were from different parts of the world, all traveling and exploring Italy. Soon, friendly chatter turned into shared laughter. Eleanor, usually shy, found herself talking freely about her adventures, her drawings, and even her funny map mistake in Rome. They shared stories of their own travels, their favorite foods, and the beauty they had seen. It was a wonderful surprise to connect with new friends so easily. Over plates of delicious pasta and glasses of red wine, Eleanor felt a warmth spread through her. She wasn't just a solo traveler, she was part of a bigger, joyful journey. Later that night, as Eleanor sat by her hotel window, looking out at the softly lit streets of Florence, a quiet moment of thought came over her. She thought about her life back home, the comfortable routines, the familiar faces. She had loved her family deeply and cherished her role as wife and mother. But now, here she was, in a faraway land, making new friends and discovering new joys, all by herself. A feeling of freedom, light and airy, settled in her heart. It wasn't a freedom from her past, but a new kind of freedom to be more of herself, to explore parts of her that had been sleeping. It felt good, truly good, to be Eleanor, the adventurer. After Florence, Eleanor decided to visit a small, sleepy village nestled in the heart of Tuscany, a place called Montepulciano. She took a local bus, enjoying the winding roads and rows of olive trees. The village was like something out of a storybook, with old stone buildings, narrow paths, and flowers spilling from window boxes. She walked through the quiet square, where elderly men sat chatting and children played. She visited a tiny family-run shop, buying local cheese and honey, and watched a baker pull fresh bread from a big oven. Everyone she met was kind, offering smiles and a few words of Italian. It felt wonderfully peaceful, a slower pace of life where time seemed to stretch out, and she learned so much just by watching and listening. While in Montepulciano, Eleanor decided to try something completely new, a cooking class. In a cozy kitchen filled with delicious smells, a friendly Italian woman taught her how to make pasta from scratch. Eleanor, with flour dusting her hands, kneaded the dough, rolled it thin with a long wooden pin, and then carefully cut it into ribbons. It was harder than it looked, but so much fun. She laughed with the other students as they all tried their best, some ending up with very lopsided pasta shapes. The best part was eating the pasta they had made, tossed with fresh tomato sauce and basil. It tasted even better because she had made it herself. It was a wonderful feeling, creating something so delicious with her own two hands. After the fun of making pasta, Eleanor decided she needed a quiet afternoon. She found a lovely spot in a small park in Montepulciano, under the shade of an old olive tree. The sun was warm on her skin, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves. She pulled out a book she had bought in a tiny English bookstore in Florence, a story about a woman who travels the world. As she read, the sounds of the village drifted by. Distant church bells, children's laughter, and the soft murmur of Italian voices. It was a perfect moment of peace. She felt completely content, happy to simply be there, soaking in the beauty and quiet charm of Tuscany. It was a reminder that adventure wasn't just about grand sights, but also about finding joy in simple, beautiful moments. As the days turned into weeks, Eleanor noticed a wonderful change within herself. The hesitant woman who arrived in Rome, clutching her map with a furrowed brow, was slowly disappearing. Now she hailed taxis with a confident wave, ordered her coffee in Italian, and even found herself giving directions to a lost tourist once. Each successful navigation, each new word learned, each friendly chat with a local, added a little sparkle to her step. Her worries about traveling alone had completely vanished. Instead, she felt a powerful sense of independence, a quiet strength she hadn't known she possessed. Eleanor was truly blooming, feeling more capable and self-assured than she had in years. One evening, sitting on a balcony overlooking the rolling Tuscan hills, Eleanor found herself smiling broadly. She thought about all the things she had done, flying alone, navigating new cities, talking to strangers, even making pasta. All the fears she had before leaving home seemed so small now. It suddenly hit her. Age truly was just a number. At 65, she wasn't slowing down. She was speeding up. Life wasn't ending. It was just beginning a new, exciting chapter. She realized that she had been waiting for life to happen to her, but now she was making life happen. There were so many more corners of the world to see, so many new things to learn, and so many adventures waiting just for her. With this fresh realization, Eleanor pulled out her journal, not for sketching this time, but for planning. Even though her Italian adventure wasn't over yet, her mind was already buzzing with ideas for her next trip. Perhaps Ireland, with its green hills and ancient castles? Or maybe even a cruise through the fjords of Norway? She wrote down names of places, things she wanted to see, and new skills she wanted to learn, like maybe a bit of Spanish. The world suddenly felt wide open, full of invitations. She felt a thrill just imagining these future journeys. This wasn't just a single trip. It was the start of a whole new way of living. Eleanor was already a seasoned traveler, and she couldn't wait for what came next. As her last few days in Italy drew to a close, a bittersweet feeling settled in Eleanor's heart. She was so full of joy from all her adventures, the beautiful sights, the delicious food, and the wonderful people she had met. Yet, a little sadness crept in, knowing this amazing chapter was ending. She would miss the morning espresso, the lively chatter in the streets, and the feeling of endless discovery. She looked at her travel journal, now filled with sketches and notes, and smiled. It wasn't truly ending, she realized. These memories, and the new Eleanor she had become, would travel home with her. The journey might be over, but the adventure had truly just begun in her heart. The journey back across the ocean felt different from her arrival. Eleanor settled into her plane seat, no longer nervous but filled with a quiet sense of triumph. Her suitcase, a little heavier now, was packed with more than just clothes. Inside, nestled carefully, were small ceramic bowls from a Florence market, a tiny bottle of olive oil from Tuscany, and a soft leather journal filled with her sketches and handwritten notes. But the most precious souvenirs weren't things she could hold. They were the vivid memories of ancient ruins, the taste of authentic Italian food, the sound of laughter with new friends, and the feeling of the warm Italian sun on her face. Each memory was a bright, shining treasure. Stepping back into her quiet home, Eleanor felt a wave of familiar comfort, but something was different. The house was the same, the garden waited patiently for her touch, but she was not the same woman who had left. There was a new spark in her eyes, a lightness in her step, and a confident hum in her heart. She looked around her living room, once a place of gentle routine, and now saw it as a starting point for even more possibilities. The quiet peace was still there, but it was now mixed with a lively energy, a longing for new experiences. Eleanor had brought home more than just souvenirs. She had brought home a renewed sense of self, a vibrant spirit that was ready for anything. Eleanor couldn't wait to share her adventures. Her living room soon became a lively hub, filled with family and friends eager to hear every detail. She spread out her maps, showed off her sketches, and passed around the small souvenirs. Lily, her granddaughter, beamed with pride as Eleanor recounted her tales, especially the funny one about the upside-down map. Eleanor's children listened with wide eyes, amazed by their mother's bravery and newfound zest for life. She described the taste of real Italian pizza, the grandness of the Colosseum, and the peaceful beauty of the Tuscan hills. Her voice was full of excitement, painting vivid pictures for everyone. Her stories weren't just about Italy, they were about finding courage and joy, and everyone could feel it. As Eleanor shared her tales, a wonderful ripple effect began. Her friends, who had always seen her as the quiet, predictable Eleanor, started asking questions. How did you manage the train tickets? Was it scary to go alone? Eleanor answered them all with a bright smile, her confidence shining through. She told them how it felt to step outside her comfort zone, and how much joy she found in new experiences. Slowly, her stories began to plant seeds of courage in others. Her neighbor, Martha, signed up for a beginner's painting class, something she'd always wanted to do. Her friend Susan started looking into a guided tour of national parks. Eleanor proved that life doesn't stop just because you reach a certain age. In fact, it can become even more exciting. Seeing the spark in her friends' eyes, Eleanor had an idea. Why not make it easier for other seniors to experience the world? She decided to start a travel club, right in her own community. She put up flyers at the library and the senior center, inviting anyone interested in exploring new places. To her surprise, many people showed up for the first meeting. Eleanor, now a confident leader, shared tips on planning, budgeting, and even simple Italian phrases. They looked at brochures together, dreaming of future trips. The club quickly became a place where people could share their travel dreams, and slowly, those dreams started turning into plans. Eleanor was not just traveling, she was helping others grab their own passports to freedom. As Eleanor continued to inspire others and lead her travel club, she also found new ways to capture her own journeys. The simple sketches she had started in Italy grew into a real passion for photography. She bought a small, easy-to-use camera and learned to take beautiful pictures of everything, from tiny flowers to grand buildings. Her travel journal, once just for notes, became a mix of colorful photos and heartfelt stories. She loved writing about the moments that made her laugh, the beauty that made her gasp, and the kindness of strangers. Sharing these written and photographic memories with her club members and online with her family gave her immense joy. It was another way to keep the adventure alive and connect with the wider world. A year had passed since Eleanor's Italian adventure, and her home was now a vibrant hub of activity. Her travel club was thriving, and her photography and writing filled her days with purpose. But the biggest change was Eleanor herself. She was now 66, but felt younger and more alive than ever. One sunny afternoon, Lily visited, finding Eleanor poring over maps and brochures, a familiar twinkle in her eye. "What are you up to, Nana?" Lily asked, smiling. Eleanor looked up, her face bright. "I'm planning my next big trip, dear. A cruise through the Greek islands. And this time, Martha and Susan from the club are coming with me." The thought of another adventure, this time with friends, filled her with pure delight. Eleanor's story, from her quiet life to her bold adventures, held a clear message for everyone. Life truly does not slow down at 60. It simply opens a new, exciting chapter. At 65, she didn't just grab a passport. She grabbed her freedom, a freedom to explore, to learn, and to be herself in ways she never imagined. Her journey taught her that courage isn't just for the young, and discovery isn't limited by age. Each passing year for Eleanor was no longer a step towards slowing down, but a step towards more vibrant living. She became a shining example that with an open heart and a curious mind, every age can be the best age for adventure.